Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me once again in Unreal Engine 5. Today I have hopefully a pretty quick video about materials and how to optimize them for your game. Let me switch over to the engine and show you what I'm talking about. Let me get a few static meshes in here to play with. I guess I could use these cubes. Why not? Let's use the cubes. They're using, over here you can see, if I scroll up a bit, they're using a material called MI Solid Blue. We're going to make our own material. How about that? Come to the content folder and I'll show you how we can do this super optimized. So just make a new material, I'll call it MM Master, open it up. Now you can get really complicated with your materials setup, but what I really want to focus on is the custom primitive data part of it. So let me just do something kind of similar. We'll use a parameter called base color. We'll set a default to say red. And we'll do a few more here. Metallic, roughness, and say this one, why not? Ambient occlusion. That's a fun one. So this is kind of a common workflow for making a material instance. If you wanted to make variations in colors on something, you'd have these parameterized so that you can make different material instances. Let me show you what I mean. Now that we have a master material, let's make a material instance. Call this inst1. I'm going to put this on this cube here. So nice pretty cube. What if I want to change the color? What would you do? Would you make a new material instance? So let's just open up this. So you can see how you would have global scalar and global vector. If I wanted to change this color, I can go to yellow. Put this here. And you see now my box is yellow. So am I going to make 3 different material instances for 3 different colors? I used to. Not anymore. What we do is, let's slap this on here. Put the yellow here, we'll put the yellow here. I want to show you how I'm just using one material instance. To do so, let's go to our master once again. If you click on one of your parameters and you go over to the left side of the screen, you see use custom primitive data. I'm going to check it, yes. It hides a bunch of that stuff, turns my color black. I still have a default value though, and that's important. You want a default value selected. Coming back to the left side, so we've checked this box and now we have to set an index value. 0 is the first one, it's our base color, so I'm going to leave it as is. If you look closer now, you can see base color, custom primitive data, index 0, 1, 2, 3. That's because linear color is a vector 4, and it's basically 4 floats, so these are the 4 floats using 4 indices. Let's go down to metallic. I want to use custom primitive data here. And now I'm going to set its index to 4 because we can't have any overlapping or sharing going on. I mean, we could, but then we lose, there's no purpose to that. We lose all the independent control. I'll show you what I mean afterwards. Roughness, let's check it. 5. Ambient occlusion, let's check it. 6. So now I'm using 6 indices to power this master material. One limitation, there's 2 limitations. This first limitation is how many indices you can play with. You can have up to 32 total, so 0 through 31. A color is going to use 4 of those. If you have, like, say, something multiplied by a parameter value for intensity, you know, that's still a float, still a scalar, that's just going to take 1. But keep in mind you have up to 32 of these to play around with. Second limitation is you can't play with textures. It's only going to take a float, this system. You can't send a texture via a float. The reason why color is safe is because it's essentially just 4 float values. So limitations are 32 indices and no textures. And we'll come back to our material instance. It doesn't look any different. Or it shouldn't. Oh yeah, actually it does look different. You can't set the parameters through your material instance anymore. You have to use your custom primitive data. And that information lies on the static mesh, not on the material. So if I go over here, it's using our fun material instance. If I type in prim for primitive, it'll filter out to the custom primitive data defaults section. If I hit this plus, boom, we got the default color, which was yellow. Remember? Yeah, it was yellow. Maybe it just had stored the last thing I had on there. But now I can play with the base color, I can play with the metallicness of it, the roughness. Look at that, that's fun. What happens if we highlight them both? We can change them both at the same time. So you don't have to worry about doing this, adjusting every little static mesh individually. You can kind of batch your actions together like this. Make them kind of super metallic, that's fun. And then I want this one to be green, so I change that one to be green. So now look at that. You've got three pretty different looking static meshes, all using the same material instance. And guess what? It's more performant. It's better for your workflow, I find. It's more performant for your CPU and your GPU. And for organization, you're going to have way fewer folders and files in your content browser. I had, level 1 folder with all these material instances, level 2 folder. It was getting kind of crazy, and I'm glad I stumbled onto custom primitive data as a solution because it's really kind of fun and saved a lot of time and, like I said, performance. So that is just a general overview of how to use custom primitive data, but I hope you learned something and it became useful for you. Here, I'll just mention, if you're using Nanite and an older version of Unreal Engine 5, Nanite's only in Unreal Engine 5 so far, but if it's an older version like 5.1, 5.2, this CPD thing doesn't play well with Nanite. I think they've fixed it. I've heard they've fixed it for later versions. I'm on 5.5. I'm not using Nanite, so it doesn't matter. If you're not using Nanite, don't worry about it. Go nuts with this. If you are using Nanite, hopefully it's a later version, like 5.6 or where are we at, 5.7 now. I've heard that they've fixed it. So yeah. Give it a shot in your game and leave a note in the comments below how that went for you, if you liked it, if you find this helpful. Yeah. Once again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.